Good day, children, and welcome to today's lesson. My name is Stacey, and I will be presenting a lesson about Elijah and the widow Zarephath. Through this lesson, our faith in God's help is strengthened, and we learn that God keeps His word and His promises. This week's Bible reading is from 1 Kings chapter 17, verses 6 to 24. Abba, the king of Israel, had married Jezebel, the daughter of the heathen king of Zidon, and she brought the gods of her homeland, Baal and Asherah, together with their prophets to Israel. The royal court and the majority of Israel worshipped these gods and practiced idolatry. The Lord's prophet Elijah, he warned the people to turn away from Baal, worship and obey God. The Lord then told Elijah to deliver a message to King Ahab. Elijah warned the king, "As the Lord God of Israel lives, whom I serve, there will be no dew or rain for the next few years until I say so." Then God told Elijah to hide in a ravine near the brook. Here he was safe from Jezebel's persecution, and God would supply him with water and food. Elijah obeyed God's command. He drank water from the brook, and ravens brought him bread and meat every morning and every evening. Just as Elijah said, there was no rain or dew. The people called on Baal for help, but the ground became dry and the harvest failed. Even the brook dried up. God then directed Elijah to Zarephath, where a widow would provide him with food and water. When Elijah arrived in Zarephath, he saw the widow and asked her, "Will you please bring me water to drink and bread to eat?" The widow replied, "I don't have any bread. I only have a handful of flour and a little oil to make a last meal for myself and my son." Elijah told her not to be afraid, but to go home and make a small loaf of bread for him and then bake bread for her son and herself. God will not let the flour and oil run out before the rain comes again. The widow obeyed, and they had a meal together. Later, when she went to the jar of flour and the jug of oil, she saw that the flour and the oil was not used up. God fulfilled His promise. No matter how much flour and oil they used, it was replaced. Through this miracle, God saved them from starvation. Sometime later, the widow's son became very ill and dies. Then she shouted at Elijah, "Did you come to remind me of my sin and kill my son?" Elijah then took the boy to his room and prayed to the Lord. Then he stretched himself upon the child and cried out, "Lord, please let this boy's soul return to him." A great miracle happens. The boy started to breathe again and opened his eyes. Overjoyed, Elijah takes him to his mother. She can hardly believe her eyes. This experience strengthened her faith in God. Both Elijah and the widow experienced God's help. God kept His promises to Elijah and protected him and provided him with water and food during the drought. The widow's experiences with God strengthened her faith and trust in Him. We too may experience God's help and time again. God will always help us and keep His promises. We must just ask and trust in Him.